Hi everyone, and welcome to today's Circuit Stream workshop, Developing a VR Application with HP, how to get started with HP Omnicept SDK. If you're there, let me know. Hey David, how's it going? I'm good, how are you? Hey Stephen, Andrew, Elisa, Adrian, and Steph, Sean. Wow, lots of people to me. And can everyone hear me? Can everybody see me? I definitely don't want to have any tech issues today. Last time my mic was a little bit iffy. So, okay, great, awesome. Thanks for confirming, Jason. If at any point my mic or my video gets weird, let me know so I can fix it right away. So Jose is asking, will this be recorded and downloadable after? Absolutely, absolutely. Awesome. So continue to use the chat function to say hello and let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm currently in Calgary, Alberta, here up in Canada, and our attendees and our speakers are always so global. Great. All right. I see Jason from Austin, Adrian from Costa Rica, Abdul from Dubai, Mohammed in Abu Dhabi, Anurag in Seattle. Oh, cool. We have, it's moving so fast, I can't keep up. Okay, I see Newport Beach, I see Pennsylvania, I see UK, Montreal, Qatar, Calgary, Spain. Awesome, awesome. South Africa, wow, so amazing. Definitely continue to see where you're tuning in from. Venezuela, wow, this is one of our most global attendees we've had yet. Very exciting. India, very cool. All right, and then the next thing we usually like to do via the chat is share our LinkedIn profiles, and then that way we can stay connected even after the workshop is over. Another very cool thing that I really love about this platform is the emoji function. So you probably see it. You can comment with whatever emojis you like throughout the workshop, and we really love it. It just it makes us feel more connected to you all. So that's really, really great if you can use it. Alrighty, so let's go through a couple of housekeeping items before we get things started. So you're all familiar with the chat function. Throughout the workshop, feel free to comment and keep using it to interact with each other. And then on the top right, you'll see that there's a questions tab. So if you have any questions, be sure to drop it there, because at the end of the workshop, when we do the Q&A, we'll be able to go through all of them one by one, and it won't get lost in the thread. And then to the right of that, we have our polls section. So I'll be launching two quick polls today, just to get a sense of your guys' experience with Unity and just a couple of other things for context. And then that way we can really cater to everybody who is present. All right, great, I see thumbs up. So that means that you're getting it, awesome. So without further ado, I'm so excited for the workshop today. We have two very special guest speakers, Sergio Tortosa and Lauren Domingo from HP, and they're going to talk all about the HP Omnicept SDK, and they're actually going to show you how to create a really cool app on Unity. Another kind of breaking news is make sure you stay until the end, because we will be drawing a winner to get a free Omnicept SDK. So the value is 1,250 USD. Yeah, definitely. These emojis. Yes, absolutely. Very nice, very nice. So the workshop will be around an hour and a half tops, so between an hour and a half. So without further ado, and taking advantage of that hook right there, let's go through the agenda for today. So I'm going to start off with a brief introduction, 5 to 10 minutes, just to give you all a context of who we are and what we do. And then I'm going to invite Lauren and Sergio up on the stage to go through a VR deep dive with HP. And then I'm going to come back on and just go through a couple of wrap-up and resources, and then we'll go through a live Q&A session. Okay, so who are we? Some of you might know me. I'm Luciana Fortes, or you can call me Lucy. I'm the Student Experience Coordinator here at Circuit Stream, or Fun Guru, all that good stuff. Michael's asking if you'll have the replay as well as the project files. Yes, so to everybody who registered for the workshop and is here today will be receiving at the end a recording as well as the project files or in anything else that we share here today. All right, so a little bit about me. I've worked in education for over 7 years in university prep and student experience, and both of my degrees are in dance. A fun fact is that in 2016, I danced in the opening ceremony of the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games. Are there any dancers out there, or maybe athletes? Let me know. All right, so in terms of our special guests, we have first Sergio Tortosa. He's a developer advocate at HP. He has over 4 years of experience in XR development and mostly development with Unity, which is the engine that we use at CircuitStream as well. And fun fact about him is that he's a game jams freak, and he finished 6th and looking forward to the next one. Awesome, very cool. If you guys have any game jams coming up, they'd like to share in the chat. And I see that we do have some dancers. Chris, amateur bachata dancer, very cool. Chris, BFA in painting, very nice, very nice. And then we have Lauren Domingo. So Lauren's a developer advocate, part of the HP XR developer relations team. She has over 10 years of experience in immersive technology. She has a computer engineering degree at Rutgers University, and she's an animation hobbyist. Very nice. Oh, sorry about that. All right, so who are we here at CircuitStream? So CircuitStream was founded in 2015 when we noticed that there was a gap in the education world in terms of providing training to the next set of XR professionals, enthusiasts, hobbyists, and all of that. So we're so happy to say that since then we've trained over 40,000 learners, which is a pretty impressive number. We're also a Unity certified training and channel partner. So what does this mean? So channel partners are approved based on their expertise and commitment to providing the best level of training possible. So as you can see, just with our students, just like our students, our team is also very global. So we have team members all over the world from, we're industry experts who are passionate about building AR and VR products, as well as providing training to all of you amazing students out there. These are just some of the students that we have the pleasure to train. So we have some pretty big names here. We have Apple, Hulu, Nike, YouTube, Facebook, Dell, Walmart, and a couple universities in there as well, Hershey. So I always love this slide because it just shows you the diversity that XR has. And this is just a snapshot of some of the applications. All right, so how do we offer our training? So via workshops is one of them, but also through our academic offerings. And just so you can have a snapshot of the training that we do. So we have 2 beginner courses. XR Development with Unity, this is a beginner course. And then also, so both of them are beginner courses, but the XR Development with Unity is focused on coding and how to build an app, whereas the interaction design and prototyping for XR, which is a recent course that we just launched, is beginner as well, but it's focused on design and prototyping, as you can imagine from the name. We have a couple of cohorts coming up, but I'll talk about these courses in a little bit more detail at the end. So the courses all feature live mentorship, and you have the option to add one-on-one support as well. In addition to these courses, we also offer personalized team training. So if you're an educator or part of a business and you'd like to set up something for your team, let us know and we can come up with a customized plan for you. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Unity. So Unity is the engine that we use here at CircuitStream, and it's the engine that you're going to be learning about today. But before we say what Unity is, I'd love to get a sense of what everybody's experience with Unity has been so far. So I'm going to go ahead and launch the first poll. It's published, so if you could go over to the poll section and let me know how much Unity experience you have on a scale from 0 to 10. So let's start taking a look at these numbers. All right, so we have a couple of mostly 0, 2, and 1. Oh, we have some 8 and 9s. Okay, so those people are experts, so you're really going to be on top of it. But it looks like still the majority is beginners, which is totally fine. We're going to be going through all of that with you. Okay, so what is Unity? Unity is a free 3D development engine for building games, simulations, and experiences. It's the easiest way to begin making apps for XR, which means extended reality, which is just a fancy umbrella term for AR and VR. David saying no hole in your end. If you go to the top right, beside the questions tab, there should be a polls button, and then there you can post your vote. All right, so how do you go about building your application on Unity? It all starts with your brilliant idea, and then you created an engine such as Unity, and we're going to be showing you how to do that today. And then you push it out to an SDK, such as Oculus, Steam VR, and Microsoft HoloLens, or as we're going to see today, HP Omnicept. So this is the bad boy here that we're going to be doing a draw at the end. Somebody's going to get this for free. All right, so talking about the workshop today, what are you going to learn? You're going to have an understanding of HP Omnicept. You're going to learn how to use the cognitive load inference engine into a variety of project ideas, and how to enable Unity to develop for some of the latest headsets around, like the Reverb G2 using OpenXR. So without further ado, let's get this show on the road, and I'd love to invite Sergi and Lauren up here on stage to go through the technical portion of the workshop. Hey, Lauren.
Hi.
Great to have you. Okay, so we can see you, we can hear you. So you'll be starting off, and then Sergi. There he is. Okay, awesome. I'll hop off, and I'll see you guys later.
Thanks, Luciana. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. I'm going to share my screen in a second. Cool. Okay, great. So, we're going to talk about developing VR experiences with the Omnicept SDK. We're going to start with an overview of what is Omnicept, if you don't know, and then we'll start in on Unity game development. And then from that game, we'll add Omnicept. So you'll see how you can add Omnicept to your game to have a more customized experience. So I'm going to continue. So what is Omnicept? What is it? What does it do? I'll say what it is and what it is not. So it is a sensor and inference engine data from the HP Reverb G2 Omnicept edition. So HP has two Reverb G2s. There's the normal one, and then there's the one that we came out with a few months ago. That is the Omnicept edition. So that has sensors on it that we're referring to in this Omnicept part. The SDK, there's an SDK that comes with Omnicept headsets that enables users to gain access to those sensors and inference engine data. So we have a Unity package. So you import a Unity package, and then you're able to communicate to those sensors on the headset. And we'll talk more about that as we go on in the presentation. The Omnicept SDK also includes a hardware simulator. So those of you who don't win the headset and don't yet have one, you can still download the SDK, and you'd use the hardware simulator as a way to communicate sensor events to your game or to your application that you're making in Unity. You'll see here I have a link to hp.io/Omnicept. So that's our developer portal for Omnicept. And you'll find the SDK there. You'll find documentation there, but you'll also find code samples. So today we will go over a code sample that we made specifically for you guys. But there are simpler code samples that we have there. There's a variety of things we have. We have a variety of things we have there. So that's the place to go, the place to be. What we won't talk about today, but is also available with the SDK, is Unreal. We have an Unreal plugin, as well as native C++ support. So what Omnicept SDK is not, it's not making any rendering calls to the headset. It's not a way to interact with the headset. In fact, it just happens to be that those Omnicept sensors are on a VR headset, but really that's what we're communicating to, just those sensors. That's what the SDK enables. I mentioned eye trackers, so on the next slide we'll talk about this more, but the Omnicept headset has eye cameras pointing at your eyes, and that is a technology from Tobii. They are an eye tracker company that is in other headsets, but our SDK only supports the Omnicept Edition headset, so it does not support for other eye tracking headsets. So sensor data, I've been talking about sensor data. Here's a little funny little snip of an app that we give out for free on one of our code samples, but this is where my eyes were looking, and that's my mouth cam image. So those are the three sensors you gain access to with Omnicept. There's a heart rate sensor, so it's a PPG sensor that's actually right on your forehead between your eyes. And that's giving you heart rate information and heart rate variability. And that heart rate is an int that you get every minute, what your heart rate is. There's also eye gaze is another sensor data that you get. So where are your eyes looking? How big are your pupils? Are your eyes open? That's kind of information is coming from the SDK about your eyes. And then that mouth cam, for now, the mouth camera is just a raw image. It's a grayscale image, about 400 by 400 pixels, and it's a texture. You could apply this as like a texture to your game object. So those are the sensors that we have available to you guys today with Omnicept. Those are the sensors. I also mentioned the ability, I said inference engine. So what is inference engine? Omnicept was developed by HP Labs, like the cool PhDs that are data scientists, machine learning, and there's a whole bunch of data behind cognitive load that we actually make available on the dev portal. For those of you who are into data science, you could actually see where we collected data from to come up with the algorithm for cognitive load. So cognitive load, what is it? This is one of our inferences that is available today. As time progresses, there will be more inferences that Omnicept enables coming out of HP, but today it's cognitive load. So stay tuned for other things like expression and emotion. But today, cognitive load. And so what is that? Cognitive load is the amount of mental effort to perform a task or to learn something new. So like if you had a lot of information coming at you, too much to process at a time, that's not really comfortable for one. It's not really optimal for learning. You're not really in a good learning state. So we say that's high cognitive load. And if at the other end of the spectrum, if it's too little, it's not even interesting, then that's low cognitive load. And that's not optimal either. You're not really learning, you're not really performing. So we have this example here of this little cartoon. She's eating a bunch of marshmallows. Sure, you can eat 36 marshmallows and jam them in your mouth, but like how easy is it going to be to chew and swallow those? Not that easy, not that optimal. So that's like overloaded. Think of all those marshmallows. On the other side of the spectrum, this little image is she has a sesame seed on her plate. Like, again, that's just, you're even going to chew that? Like you barely even feel that in your mouth. So that's low cognitive load. So where we want to be is right in the middle, the Goldilocks zone. So enough of a challenge that you're engaged and learning and performing. So that's, we call it the Goldilocks zone. Sometimes it's referred to as being in the zone. You may have heard of being in the zone, or flow state is another example. So that's where we want to be when we're learning. So that's what cognitive load is here. Moving on to continue to talk about that. So I kept saying like learning something. So that's a good example of using cognitive load. On this graph, this is like a training example. So time spent training. You see that's on the x-axis, and then what the two lines are, the orange line is your performance and the black line is your cognitive load. So in the beginning, really low performance, right? You're learning, there's a lot of information coming at you, your cognitive load is high. As time progresses, more training, you are starting to be able to perform and your cognitive load is starting to go down a bit, but becoming an expert or becoming very versed in it, like learning Unity, as time goes on, you're able to create more things and your cognitive load is in a more comfortable learning zone for long-term learning when you're in that Goldilocks zone or flow state. That's like good learning. So that shows expertise over time and with cognitive load. So cognitive load is just an output that you get from the headset. It's a float value between 0 and 1. 0 is null. And then you can think of the rest as like a percentage of cognitive load. So 90% at capacity, a high cognitive load, or 45, a medium. So that's what you could think of with the cognitive load output. And what can you do with that? So we put a few things here to help the creative juices flow with cognitive load. So you can have an experience in a game where you're aware of someone's cognitive load and it's high and they're supposed to, find something in this scene to progress forward. If their cognitive load is high, or even their eye gaze is in the wrong direction, the cognitive load is high, but you want it to be, you might make the experience easier for them. So maybe you take out some of the bad guys or the distractions in the next scene. And vice versa, if their cognitive load is low, you change the scene to be more engaging, more going on, to keep them interested and engaged and getting to that Goldilocks zone. So that's one way to use cognitive load in your app. Another thing you could do is help them along with like tips and pointers. So if their cognitive load is high and they're not progressing, you can highlight something. You can make something glow or something like that. Or you could send them a message on the screen that gives them a tip. Another thing you could do is we call like an expertise indicator. So you go through an experience and you get all these cool metrics about your performance at the end of it. It could be all sorts of things, but then the Omnicept can give you like, oh, your cognitive load spiked when you were, trying to put a clock together or something in VR. So it could just be cool feedback for someone to learn about themselves and where they should focus their energy next time around or moving forward. So those are some ideas. I am not staring at the chat. I will look at it after here, but I think that it'd be cool if you guys have some ideas on how to use cognitive load in a game or or a different way to use it or any questions about it. Please put those in the chat. Yeah, so that's cognitive load. So we talked about what Omnicept enables, but like how does it work? At a high level, this is like how technically it's working. So when you download the SDK, you're getting an Omnicept service will like run on your system. It's very lightweight, but that Omnicept service can get information from that headset about the sensors. So that's listening to the sensor data. And the way to get that sensor data in your application, either in your game engine like Unity or in your user's app, is by sending a license, like a request to Omnicept, hey, I want that information, and here's my license. Like you need to have a license to get that information. So it's a free thing for developers. It's just something you have to sign up on the developer's portal, developer console, which is linked in the portal, on getting that license credentials that you could put into your plugin. And so when you make that request to Omnicept, and it says, okay, good, you deserve that information, it sends that information to your app for you to use. Same thing if you don't have a headset, the hardware simulator would be sending that sensor data. You would have the hardware simulator on your system and you'd say, I want to send a cognitive load of 80%, and you would send it, and Omnicept receives it, and then the way to get it in your app would again be that connection. That's the SDK plugin does that for you. So your end users also have your app that you made with Omnicept, and then they also have that Omnicept service on their system, and that's how that works. So yeah, I had mentioned earlier the developers portal. This is just a snapshot of it, and the landing page says the quick steps to get started. You download it, you sign up on that console to get your license information, and then you get set up with your app, and you can just click Unity and follow the steps on how to do that. Then also you can have our code samples to try those out. And then this is just a screenshot of the current simulator. So this is like where you would say, oh, I want the cognitive load to be 80%, and you could send it, and now that's sending to the service to then send to your app. And I know I went through that quickly, and but we recently posted a video about a week ago on HP support, so you could just search "Getting Started with the Omnicept SDK," and in that video I walk you through, downloading it, signing up on the console, and then opening it in Unity, getting the package, and then just making a really small app, like just like a few game objects, and just seeing that you're getting information from Omnicept or from the simulator. So I won't play that one, but just so you know, there's a video, and you can comment on it or find us on the dev portal if you have any additional questions. We're on the dev portal for support, Sergi and I, for you guys. And then I wanted to mention, before we move forward, I wanted to mention some other things that are available on that dev portal. So we have other features that are making VR experiences excellent. There's a spatial audio plugin that we have for Unity, because machine learning from our HP Lab PhDs, that makes realistic audio in your scene. So you just add this, like it's a plugin that we have for Unity, and you just add a script to your game objects that you want to have like spatialized sounds. So if something's happening in the distance, it sounds like it's happening in the distance. You just add this plugin. So that's great and free, and you could add that to your Unity application today. And then the other thing we have is Foveated Rendering. So you might be familiar with Foveated Rendering, but when you're looking at something, there's only a small area of your gaze that is like high resolution. That's like the foveal region. And so because we're aware of where your eyes are looking with an Omnicept headset, because we have that camera, we're able to make the foveal region of your gaze like really high resolution, right? Like realistic, and not worry about the other areas. So we have a plugin for that as well. Another, that's very simple to, you don't have to implement knowing where the fovea is. The plugin does all the work for you. The thing is, though, you do need a Turing-based NVIDIA GPU, so one of the newer RTX GPUs to enable that. So we did incorporate both of these plugins in the code sample that we'll give you guys today, but we turned off this plugin just in case you don't have a new GPU. We didn't want you to get like a bunch of errors or anything, but it's just a click to enable it. I'm going to stop sharing my slides for a second so I could share a video. I'm going to stop sharing. And we're going to move into, okay, sorry. Thought I left the whole meeting. I'm going to share a video. This is like a little clip of what Sergi's going to get into. And then I'll hand it over to you, Sergi, to share the video. So this is a little sneak peek of our tennis trainer game that we made for you guys that we'll share. And Sergi will go over the what went into making this game. So, yeah.
Thank you, Lauren. So yeah. So now we will hop out onto Unity and do some live development for getting something like that. So I'm going to start first thing first. It's that we wanted this to be, training your tennis skills. I suck at this game. I created the game and I'm so bad at it. So don't expect to be better. So first of things first, we are using OpenXR. This I think we mentioned at the beginning. And the reason we are using OpenXR is because we want to kind of support all the headsets going with this sample. So kind of OpenXR does this as middle layer. You can target OpenXR on Unity 2020 Plus, the LTS versions. And you can target not only Reverb G2, but if you have any SteamVR compatible devices or Oculus devices, you can still run on them. So that's good because you don't need Omnicept to get started, and then you can get to Omnicept or to G2 if you would like to. So how to set up that on Unity? You can get just to the XR plugins management. And then enable OpenXR. And then for this scenario, we are enabling the G2 controller profile. We are not using that, but if you need the controller profiles, you can add a controller profile you need there. And this will enable OpenXR, right? So now we are supporting OpenXR VR. If I hit play, I will see things on VR. For this demo, we are also using the interaction toolkit from Unity, the XR interaction toolkit. This is something on preview. And it's not production ready yet, but they are working on that. And I like to use Unity things if they provide. So they provide some goodies, they provide an XR rig that room-based, and they provide setup for the tracking of the camera and the controllers, which we'll be using today. So before jumping onto doing some code, I want to talk about architecture. I know that's beginner course, so I will keep it super simple. And why I want to talk about that is because we have decided to do scalable object delegates. So for those that you are not familiar with Unity, scalable objects are data containers. So you can contain data on an asset form. And these data containers can have also events. So we are making use of that. So if we can kind of get to our game, we can see different components on our game. The first component I can see is the racket. We can see also the targets, the ball shooter, and the UI. So that's kind of the components we have. And we want to communicate that components, right? So for communicating that components, we will be using events, events that someone subscribes to that event and someone's prices that event. So we will be using this 5 that's kind of start and score point, miss point, and adjust difficulty. And why we are doing this delegate thing and not getting just a game controller that has also reference on it, because we wanted to try to despite being a beginner course, we want to try to keep away myself from doing a singleton with lots of references on the scene, and we are trying also to provide you new ideas and fresh ideas from different getting started. It has all cons, as always. You have like many patterns to try to implement on Unity. If you are starting, check those out because it's worth it your time. But this has some cons, kind of like, for instance, you have to set up like the reference for 2 events on the different game objects, and you have like to do this manual setup. That's not happening with inject dependency injector thing. Okay, so let's go to Racket, right? So my first approach when willing to do a Racket will be I create a 3D object, create a cube, right? And I get like the cube to be the shape of my new super Racket, right? And then I hit play. I will add a rigid body too, right? And I will hit play. And this is a great start, but not what we want, and I will explain why. When you are attaching this rigid body to the controller is moved by transforms, right? Let me just get it kinematic, because otherwise it would fall, right? So we are attaching that to the controller, right? So if we move the controller the same that the engine will do, right? You see we are moving, then the cube will have velocity on the rigid body to be 0, right? This will make, despite you having a racket and having some velocity on the racket, you'll hit the ball the same as it hits like a wall, and we don't want that. Is that right? So this not hard of a problem, that's an easy solution, right? So what we are going to do is we're getting a 3D model, and we are going to create different like points on the racket, and we are going to get like these points to have like a little cube that follows the racket itself. Okay, so this has like 2 scripts attached to it. The first one is yep, thank you Visual Studio for helping me out. So meanwhile it loads, I can show the things. So it has a racket target, that's the target position where we want like our rigid body with velocity squares to be, and then we'll have like these actual little cubes to follow our racket, right? So you can see like there are cubes with a collider at the racket follower and a rigid body. So if we get back to Visual Studio, and it wants to help me out. If not, we are going to reopen Visual Studio. All good. So yeah, I'm gonna use this one. So we have like the racket target that's just like a position on the space that's moved by transform, and we're instantiating a follower, and the follower is just like getting the position and calculating the difference of positions and trying to follow this movement along. So that's what's gonna happen when I hit play. It will spawn a bunch of cubes that now are visible, and it will follow our movement. We also attach a component that's velocity debugger that will tell us what's the velocity on color from our game object. So yeah, today Unity is so slow. So while this is working and getting on play, which is good now, now we can see that we have like the prefab, and if we move our bracket, we have the followers following, right? And if we shake out the racket, the velocity changes on the different little things. And the most important thing of it is if you swing the racket, it has the velocity. So you have different velocity on the tip of the top of the racket than on the bottom of it, right? So you have like more realistic physics, let's say, right? So that's the first thing. Now we have a racket that works, and we can use that one. So let me just get rid of the buggers so we can keep following things. So now we have solved that, right? I want to mention that many interaction toolkits have the ability to move objects in different ways, and not just by attaching, but moving them in different ways that you can make use of that. So now we need some balls and something that shoots balls at us, right? So that's it. You don't want to collaborate today. Seems like so. So what we are doing now is let's shoot some balls at the player, right? So I'm gonna shoot up like my dummy shooter. And what's gonna do that? It's super simple. Dummy shooter will just listen to our events. That's the ones that we defined before. So we have our first 2 events, start level and end level. And we're gonna listen to that event. And when we start the level, start shooting balls each X seconds, right? So kind of like super simple code. On top date, we're gonna count the time that has passed from like the last time we shoot. And when we have like enough time, we shoot a ball and reset this time, right? So for shooting a ball, we'll need a prefab for a ball. So we have, here's a little ball. right? So this ball has one script, that's the ball script, that has like also some delegates for that. When the level ends, for the student itself, kind of like no extra points, no overtime points. When you miss the point, to inform the rest of the game that you have missed that, or when you score the point, to inform like the rest of the game that you have scored a point, right? And the ball right now only handles like the collision, right? Notice that we are doing like that virtual, the handle collision. And it's that because if we want different types of balls, like a instructor that is meant to not be hit, we can just override that function and act differently there. So for movement, that's where we wanted to go. We have a separate component. That this separate component has like functions to start and stop moving. And for start moving, it resides like both a speed and endpoint. So we are like saying the ball, hey ball, you have to go there. And the ball is calculating the velocity needed for the ball to actually happen that. So with that, with the ball spawner, we are just getting the position of the ball spawner, getting the forward, and getting 8 meters on the forward, but this forward is normalized. Right, so now we have that done. If we hit play, we will see now that our little machine shoots balls, right? But it will shoot balls just on an interesting way. So I'm gonna rise, yeah. You see like it's shooting balls because I have like the auto start. So I'm gonna just remove that, right? When we start the level, it starts shooting balls, and when we stop the level, it stops shooting balls. So that's a little bit uninteresting, right? Because that's not funny, right? I want this robot to move around and so on, and this is what we want to do, right? So the approach that we want to take there, we have to spawn the ball each second, but we want kind of like choose the destination. That's something we have to, but we want this little robot to move around. So let's do that. So I have created this more advanced robot, let's call 2.0 for robot. So I'm gonna just, this robot has something else that's kind of, we have instructors now, and we receive as array of spawn positions. These spawn positions will be the position from where we are shooting the balls, right? So I'm gonna just drag this over, and this, I hit save, everything freezes. When this little robot spawns a ball, right? So you have to spawn obstacle. It moves to the next position. Just choose a random position and like moves the origin to that, and it spawns the obstacle. For spawning the obstacle, sorry, 1 second. For spawning the obstacle, we are choosing a random position around the player to make it more interesting. So we are getting a random range around the player, and then choosing that position as a target. And with that, we have the position. We correct the position if we hit the net, kind of like to don't send invalid balls to the user. And then as before, we just initialize the ball and we shoot that. So now if we hit play again, we will see like our little robot start moving and shooting balls at us, right, when we start the game. So let's set that. Yeah. Meanwhile, we are going that. I'm gonna go next. Okay. So now you see it moves, it shoots the ball, it moves to the next point, it will shoot the ball, it will move to the next one, and I shoot the ball, right? So you have to say, Sergi, we are missing things, right? So because in the before script that we had before, we had like configurations for like ball speed. We have like also configuration for the time between spawns. So when we are starting the level, we're using like our second stable object, and it's to have like level configuration. For this level configuration, we are just storing a bunch of data per level. So kind of like the base speed of the ball, the maximum minimum speed, so we can tweak that speed of the ball, how many instructor rays we want to spawn, and obviously the second between spawns. And we are passing that on the event, and that's working. And I need 1 second because my dog is destroying my house. Sorry for that. It was destroying a box. So working from home happens. So now when you have that, now we need the targets. So for the targets, what we are going to do is something similar. It's a dog. My coworker is in my home, correct. So we are spawning a bunch of targets, and the batch of targets it's going to move around the scene. So for that, let's go to prefab with the targets. And with the prefab with the targets, we are just like getting some targets that have different colors. They act the same, right? We are doing predefined positions, so we are getting like a bunch of positions that the targets can spawn at, and then we are spawning the targets. I forgot to mention one thing, and I think it's important, so I'm gonna get back 1 second. For when you are shooting the balls, that's more for the 5+ Unity Express, I guess. It's common to use a pooling system, so you don't create new objects all the time, right? And you can reuse the same game object, and you don't have to destroy and create again, take the game object. Similar applies the same for the target. You can have like just a pool of targets, and the pool of targets will get the target without destroying that. So now we have like the spawn position. So let's take a look at the script. So when we start the level, we just spawn the targets. I'm doing that on a routine, just like not to spawn like everything at once. And we are choosing a random position and a random mover. And here it comes like our last executable objects. Movers are some executable objects that has a definition on how to move for an object, right? So we have a tween, kind of like this is like the circular move has a tween to do a loop on a circle all around all the time. And it has like can move from a start moving and a stop moving. This is like more for, I would say, 7+. There is a challenge for you. It's like to get the can move from to work on any scenario, so you can spawn targets and they don't collide with each other, having the trajectories. You can do like 3D grid or something like that and get something fancy there working. So now we have targets too. So I have hit play and hit rise. I will get the targets. And as Unity is slow today, I'm going to move to the next topic while we go. Okay, so I'm making some time there. So now you can see if I hit rise, I have my targets, right? So medium level, you can see like it has the different movers. So every time I click rise, I will have like different bunch of game objects with different movements, which that's some interesting things to the game. So now let's get to Omnicept, right? So we have to talk about Omnicept. Let's use that. So for Omnicept, what we are going to do is kind of like take first the balance of the player, kind of knowing if the player has like many hits or many failures. And if we see like he has like many hits, consecutive hits, and his cognitive load or her cognitive load it's low, let's get the game harder. Kind of like right now it's just getting the ball speed to get a faster or lower, right? And if he or she misses load, we get like balls slower, so it's easy. So how to start? First, we need to add Omnicept. So you import package, you add the prefab, you add the credentials, and I will take over now. It's you add to your scene the HP clear prefab. So now we are going to do this little system that will listen to the different cognitive loads, and it's so easy as I get the find of the object of a clear behavior, and I will subscribe for when I start like accumulating data, I'm gonna listen for the cognitive load message, and I will just like register the cognitive load. That's like accumulating the total cognitive load and accumulating the number of samples, so I can divide them later and get them in. And when I score or miss a point, I adjust the balance, right? And then try to adjust the difficulty. So I get like the mean and see what happens, right? So if the balance is at one side or another side, then we check the mean, and if the mean is like between like the range that we want, we either like adjust difficulty like kind of harder or easy. So to check that this is working, as I don't have my headset connected, I'm gonna use the simulator, right? So I'm gonna send some data. So I'm gonna get the cognitive load super high, and I'm gonna enable to see the messages there. I'm gonna hit play, and I'm gonna miss many shoots. When missing many shoots, you will see like this is going to function many times, and you will see when we reach like the 3 failures. So this is like the first one failure. This is like the mean of the cognitive load because we are not modifying that. And we hit the point, it's over. Yeah, like you can see, you fail with 100 cognitive load, so the ball speed is lower. This is defined also on the level. And it's kind of like the step, it's what is using to adjust like upper or lower. So it's adding these steps. So you can get like a level, if you're on hard, maybe you don't want to adjust like that much the step. But if you are on easy, you want like it to get lower if you fail 3 times because it was what it should do, right? So now you have cognitive load, right? But it would be cool to have some UI for our game. I think so. So let's add some UI for our game. So for the UI for our game, I'm gonna just get like some components to display things. The first one, these 2 are from our other samples and are just like displays for our cognitive load and her rate on real time. And on the back, we have the score and the time. These both are like same 2 other scripts, are listening to the events and doing its jobs, right? So just listening to the event. And I get a gradient. That's a cool way to do it easy. So you get a gradient and you have like a minimum, maximum. You evaluate the gradient at a certain point, and then you get the color that you should get at that point, right? So you evaluate and 0, 1 float, and you get a color there. So now let's hit play again. We are like missing few hits plays to get our final result. So meanwhile, this is okay. Now it's working. So let me rise that. We see like 0, and then we have like the seconds, and it come down. And we also see like we have the real data from Omnicept getting to us, right? So if I modify that, you will see like this changing. Okay, so that's working, right? I think we are missing one key piece of our game. The key piece we're missing is the game controller itself. So the game right now, you can play with the rise and the dither, but you have no gameplay, right? So let's add some kind of like mechanics for like the level control and so on. So I'm gonna just drop the cognitive load. Sorry for my mistake. The game controller. So the game controller, it's the same as other game as other systems. So this one will be. We have a contact button. That's contact button. It's super simple. It's just like a collider, and when you collide with it, it's just invoke again this Unity event that the game controller subscribes to. And the game controller will take care of really starting the level and then taking into account like the time and the score, right? Because right now, if we don't have the game controller, we can get like infinite points and nothing will happen. I think the game will never end. So with that, we can end the game, check game over too. So we have like a way to progress through the levels or get back to level 0 if we fail everything. A bunch of code, but it's not prolonged for be a game controller, trust me. So now we have almost everything. The game is complete, really. So we have the components that we needed to work on. So I'm gonna like hit play and kind of like see that everything is working and check that's all working. So while Unity Play, this is a cool part. Why I like this event way of working. It's adds you like the modularity to have drag and drop prefabs, right? And then you just can drag and drop them and everything works, right? So I'm gonna click the button, right? And you see everything starting there. And you see like, I'm gonna cheat a little bit, right? Because I'm so bad, but I'm the game creator, so I can be a cheater. That's a good part of that. So if we go to generic delegates and we score points, before see that we have passed the level. Right now, there's like something for like this is like 2, 3 on Unity level. Right now, the level, if you can notice, has no message payload, right? So this message, as not having message payload, we cannot tell why the game ended, right? So the game ended always like, because time's up, right? So if we can add like an event with some payload, kind of like the reason why the game ended, right? And this will take into account like the UI to reflect why the game ended and be more accurate on that way, right? So if we hit no click again, we will get to the next level. And if we get the button, we'll get red, and that's how it works. So I have run through, I don't know if you have any questions. I'm gonna read the chat for a moment. If you have any questions, please send me over the questions. Okay. Right, that's super, that's too high. Maybe you have to see a doctor, 200 ppm. So that's so high. So now we are going to go to spatial audio because we have some time. We're going to go spatial audio and foveated rendering. For spatial audio, I have a prefab for that too, because I have prefab for everything. And it's spatial audio that will just enable the spatial audio. And then when you have an audio source, you will add like the HP VR spatial audio parameters, and you can pick the parameter from there, and this will get spatial audio enabled. Same as Omnicept, you need to configure that with your credential. So that's how it works. And we can do that, and also foveated rendering, right? So foveated rendering is just 2 clicks away. So you get to the camera, you add the foveated rendering script. And on this case, I'm on the universal rendering pipeline. That's different before, like kind of depending on what pipeline you're using, that's a little bit different. If you're just like the standard one, you have just to do that script. But as we are on the universal render pipeline, we need to go to the forward renderer and add a pass for the foveated rendering to work. And this you can see like also on the editor, it mimics what's happening there. And you can also like play around and with this little editor to have your own patterns on or how VRS is working. So that gives you some control on VRS, which is cool. And once we have said that, we have our game complete. I think that's our target for today. Congratulations, we have completed the game. Mention that we will post the game on our portal. The sample goes with everything and open for questions also. Like if you have any questions on the samples, just reach out and we can answer anything. So getting Lauren back.
Just here to support. We're getting a lot of questions about if we're going to put it on GitHub. Currently, I don't think we have plans for that, Sergi. I mean, we definitely going to make it available on the dev portal.
Yeah, we can look at that. For the moment, we will do it as a zip file with just like what you will have on a GitHub, and we'll see if we can get to GitHub. Definitely, we are using GitHub internally, but
yeah,
it's different step
not
from
public.
Using us, to getting that public. So I don't know, like, anyone has any questions or any ideas of what we could do next on the samples for you.
And we're always available. So like that hp.io/omnicept, there's a support button, and you could talk to, there's a forum there, or you could talk to us with tickets. So we're here for you guys if you come up with questions as you start to get started. Alrighty.
Did you guys want to take a break, or shall I wrap up before we do Q&A?
I'm fine for you to wrap.
Okay, sounds good. All right, well, thank you so much, Sergi and Lauren. Let's give them a round of applause. Via emojis, there you go, there you go. Amazing, amazing. So it looks like they've got a lot of great questions in. So we'll be getting to them soon. Right, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen just to wrap up with a couple of things before we get to the Q&A. Amazing, can everybody see me? Can everybody hear me? Yes, okay, I see thumbs up, amazing. Okay, great, thank you so much. But so before we go on, I'd love to know on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely you are to recommend this workshop. So I'm gonna launch the second and last poll of the day. So if you could go ahead and go to the polls tab so we can have a sense, that would be awesome. It really helps us to create new content and make sure that we're gearing it towards you all. All righty, so as the votes come in, let's keep going. So if you enjoyed that, and if you'd like to create your own app or game on Unity, and you'd like to understand a little bit more about the circuit string courses and how we would help you to do that, we'd love to invite you to our next open house. It's happening on August 10th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Usually we'll go through our courses in detail, go through the syllabi as well, and we'll have a student talk about their own process of circuit string to have a sense if this is the right journey for you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share a call to action so that for those who would like to sign up can do so pretty easily. All right, so you should see it up on your screen, but I'm sure that Dion's going to post it in the chat as well. Okay, so I'm going to dismiss the button. We'll be sure to share that link with you all. Okay, so here are a little bit more of the details on our courses in case you'd like to learn with us. So as I mentioned, we have the Extra Development with Unity course. It's a beginner course, 10 weeks long, and you get 80 hours of live instruction. So you learn how to make AR and VR apps on Unity. You get 3 hours of instruction per week, as well as an additional 5 office hours that you can drop in at any time to answer your questions. And this is all with a live instructor, so none of it is pre-recorded. It's completely flexible and part-time, and you get lifetime access to the recordings. So let's say at some point you can't go to class, or you'd like to take a look at the class again to review some material. All of it is recorded, and you have access to it for the rest of your life. So it's completely portfolio-based as well. So what does this mean? It means that everything that you learn is applied to a project. And so when you're done the course, you have a portfolio with various projects ready to be shown to employers and colleagues in networking. Michael, you're going to ask your father for the fund. Yes, that's what family is for. You also get industry recognized certifications, so I'll mention them in a little bit. You also have the option to add on a weekly one-on-one support with an industry expert to work on a personal project. So really you can cater it to your needs. So the price starts at $39.50 USD, but we have a cool sale. I'm going to talk about it soon. Our next cohorts are August 3 for the MENA time zone, and then September 14th for North American time zone. So just like the Extra Development with Unity course, we have our interaction design and prototyping for XR. So it's the same structure, except there's no coding involved, and it's completely based off of focus on design. So you learn how to design experiences for AR and VR and how they're different from web and mobile apps, as well as techniques to create XR prototypes. Yes, amazing. So we've had some students take this course. It's a new one, and it's been getting some great feedback. And our next cohort for that is August 23rd, and also price starting at $39.50. Thank you guys for seeing this amazing workshop. That's awesome. Thank you for the feedback. All right, so a bit about the certifications. You get access to 2. So you get access to our own Circuit String Certified. So these are linked to job banks. You can easily share them on LinkedIn. They'll showcase your skills. So it's really great in terms of getting to the industry. And then both courses give you access to the Unity certification exam, and you have the option to get certified associate programmer or become certified as a professional artist. You get lots of support systems. So if you're part of Circuit String, you're part of our XR community, you get access to the office hours and to events as well. So I organize coffee hours, show and tell, demo day, and on our XR community on Slack, you get support, you get resources, you get networking. It's pretty exciting and very like a community, feels like a family. Some students in the chat can talk a little bit more about that as well. All right, so we have a couple of bundles where you can save a lot. So the starter pack is either the Extra Development with Unity course or the design course, plus the Unity certification exam, and that's $39.50. But if you get the plus package, you get all of that, plus the C# scripting fundamentals. So this gives you really a good background on the coding, an Oculus Quest 2 headset, and 10 hours with a one-on-one meeting with an expert to build a personal project or just get extra support. So that's $49.50, and you save over $900. However, flash sale. Can I get lots of emojis? Fireworks emojis. All right, so until Mondays, thank you. I see them. I see you all. I see you. So until Monday, July 19th, 11:59 p.m. Eastern, you get 30% off all of our individual courses. So instead of $39.50, they're $27.65, and you get $1,000 off our bundles. So those will be the price of the starter packet, $39.50. All right, so what if it's still not accessible to you? We have a couple of payment plans. Andrew's one of those students, he's saying, just do them all, so worth it. Yes, follow in Andrew's footsteps. And then in addition to our courses, we also have our personalized team training. And you can, if you're more advanced and you just like to work on a personal project, you can get a pack of one-on-one sessions with an expert. If you're interested in applying, or if you'd like to download a syllabus, go to circuitstream.com/learning. And you can speak to one of our admissions teams. So I call them Lucy's Angels, Steph, Kyle, and Brendan. They're super helpful, super nice. So they can help you understand what's the best learning path for you, depending on the various options that we offer. All right, so that's it for the wrap up and resources. Thank you everybody so much for coming. This is really exciting. We're gonna go to Q&A, so don't leave just yet. If you're wondering about the draw, we're gonna be doing that after the workshop based on those who were able to stay on longest. And I see they're coming on, amazing. And before I finish sharing my screen, I'm just gonna share our Slack link, so if you guys would like to join. And then next week as well, in terms of upcoming workshops, we have AR Sunglass Viewer and VR Balloon Ride. So those will be available on our website. Okay, done talking. Are you guys ready to answer some questions? Burning questions?
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, so everyone, you can still add more questions if you'd like. And I'll be ordering them from upvotes to least voted, so you can vote on questions that you'd like to be answered first. We have a question by David that was already answered, and then a question by Michael. So what's your GitHub?
So we don't have a public GitHub yet. We're going to work on getting this available, but in the meantime, so that, like, I'm sorry if I've said hp.io/omnicept like 100 times in the chat, but if you go there, you can get everything we've shown, and then we would put there, once we have a GitHub, we would announce that there.
Perfect.
And
so
through anyone who's
centralized.
yeah,
sorry.
and if you sign up for the Omnicept SDK, like, then we'd be able to email you when it's live too. So yeah.
Perfect. There you go. Awesome. Thanks, Lauren. And thanks, Michael. So now we have a question from Jibril. Is there any Unreal Engine course-based? Okay, so that's for CircuitStream. So no Unreal courses yet, but we do have a couple of workshops on Unreal. I'm sure Diane will be able to post them in the chat for you. Great, and then a question from Julian was answered, and then a question from Jose. Has the Unity/Unreal plugin hardware detection, for example, is Omnicept available to be able to enable this extra sensors into a game app working with OpenXR?
Not right now. We don't have that call, but I think like that's a great feature request that we will happy handle to the software team. I think that's a great request. Thank you.
Should they submit this request anywhere specific?
We can handle that. I'm just like copy that message and handle internal. So I think it's not good for us to follow up on this.
Okay, nice. Okay, so you're all talking to the direct source. No need to go through any portals or anything. Wonderful. All right, so our next question is from Andrew. Is there a reason that Omnicept does not report eye tracking through the OpenXR API? So
that's because we have started with the Omnicept plugin, and as OpenXR gets more mature and so on, we definitely will look that. I think like that's something Roman can say like where it will come, but I think that's makes sense just for us to do that. So at some point.
Great.
Yep.
All right, thank you. So next question is from Anil. And don't worry, if I'll be sure at the end to make sure to reorder them in non-answered questions. So we will go through all of them. Right, so the next question is, do I have to adjust the cognitive load part to tweak for the game that I have? Or is it irrespective of the type of game / training content we make? Does it change the game mechanics, for different cognitive load for a game?
So I think, and Sergi, you could chime in if you believe I'm not answering this. So I think I'm interpreting this as, does the cognitive load tweak the game? So you get the cognitive load output. You could be listening to every time there's a cognitive load output every second. You could be listening for that. And then you could say like, okay, I want to get the last 20 cognitive load values, average those, and now I want to do something to my game. So that's on your side of development. You could determine what you want to do with that. But cognitive load is just an output that we give to you guys. And then, you can always ask us if you have design questions. Like if you do have a specific use case, like reach out to us, and we have the experts to kind of weigh in and help with implementation if you have any questions on how to use cognitive load. Yeah.
Great. Anything to add, Sergi?
No, perfect.
Awesome. Nice. I'm not sure if this question has been answered already, but David is asking, can you monitor eye tracking as well?
So it's up to the developer to do what he wants with the sensor. So we are I think first slide of Lauren was really good, it's Omnicept. So we are exposing the data, and then we expect the developer to do kind of the work with the sensor as they will. So.
Okay, got it. And then also another question from David, what applications that provide optimal cognitive load?
I don't know if I fully understand the question. But I think what kind of applications are good for cognitive load? So interesting question. I did a lot of examples with training is what we talked about, but we have on hp.io/Omnicept, we have this tool called 2D display. And if you had an Omnicept headset, you can run that with any of your apps. So if someone mentioned Beat Saber, you could play Beat Saber and have it outputting all your Omnicept sensors, like cognitive load, and you could see if your cognitive load varies with games. So we expect there to see cognitive load interactions when you're doing anything in VR, but you test things out and have fun with it.
Nice. All righty, next question. Let's see here from Julian. Can you map that mouth movement on player avatars?
Why don't you go?
So I had mentioned in the beginning that one of the inferences that we have available today is cognitive load. So that when I say inferences, it's we get the sensor data and HP team does some magic with it and then output something. So one of the things coming out in the future will be expression. So using cameras like the mouth camera and eye camera to provide plugins to get into avatar mapping, but available today is just the raw images.
Nice. So
stay tuned.
Your way. Yeah. Fresh release coming up soon.
Yeah, we'll have to come back for that one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was all on purpose. So you guys could come back, right?
Yes.
So a question from Adrian. So we've answered this already. This is there a Git repo to clone the project. It's at your favorite website.
hp.io/Omnicept.
Very nice. We should record a commercial after this. All right, question from Andrew. Wait, the camera runs at 120 hertz, but the headset is 90. Doesn't that cause sync issues?
You are speaking about the A camera?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you are speaking of the A camera, doesn't cause sync issues because we have timestamp for that for the sensors, both on the hardware and on the Omnicept side, so we can know where this is happening between the hardware and the software side of things. that's how we sync that with the timestamp.
Awesome.
Great. All right, now a question from Jenny. Is the cognitive load applied as an AI algorithm?
It's a machine learning algorithm.
Yeah.
Inference engine, let's call that. I will not call AI. So machine learning will be like, for me, a better word for describing that, or inference engine. But it's trained, it works offline, and that's important. So we ship with the runtime trained model. That's the one that gets like the data from the headset and outputs the cognitive load without storing anything. So it's done on the flight, right? So we don't store any data. I think there are other questions with that. So.
Got it. Thank you. All right, next question from Jose. Are there any plans to expand the Omnicept SDK to other engines like Godot, CryEngine, the recently released O3DE?
So I will say we are open to get requests from developers, and I feel like, again, like our favorite web page, if you get a ticket there and request one engine, and we have like enough backing people to get that engine working, I think that we should be interesting, right? So definitely we are not close to Godot, Cry. Cry maybe it's like, but Godot is like super popular nowadays. So if there's a request, I will say like we can take a look at that. So Laura and I are here for that, exactly.
So if you all have learned anything, is to go to that website, hp.io/Omnicept. I memorized it, look at that. Right, next question is from Razif. How much is a headset and how to purchase? Go see the link on the website. So we can get the link for you. It's $12.49, I think, USD. Dayon will probably link it in the chat. Dayon or Logan. So it'll be there soon. A great question. Or you can get it for free maybe if you win the draw. Next question from Ron. How easily can the eye tracking data be applied to Sony, PlayStation 5, VR2 SDK when it comes out, would you assume?
I think it's a little bit out of scope, definitely, because right now we are only supporting Omnicept. I think like that's like different platform, that's different runtime. So I don't think that this will happen.
Okay. But that's great. They're bringing good questions, right? Hard questions. I like it. Yeah. All right. So let me see if there are any questions that haven't been answered. Oh, we do. Oh, we have. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. So let's do this again. So question from Micah. Does cognitive loads data come in the form of multiple variables, or is it just one number? By that, I mean, would a game be monitoring overall brain activity on a scale of 1 to 10, or is it looking at multiple factors and reacting to them individually?
I'll take this one, and Sergi, always feel free. So cognitive load is output as one number on our side. What it entails on the back end, as far as how it came out with that number, is a few different variables, and that doesn't change your implementation. But if you are curious, when you go to our website and you click research, so that if you click research like that, we make available all of the data that we used to, well, not all of it, but a fraction of the data that we used to enable cognitive load algorithm, as well as like what the experiments were. So we're very transparent about that. So if you're curious about that, just click on that and go to abstract, as well as you can go even further into the white paper, but do check that out. But yeah, we provide it as just one output for you guys to make use of. Awesome.
And I see that Dan's posted the link for you to purchase the Omnicept. It's in the chat. All right, so question from AA. Is the data from XYZ from MEMS sensors being linear interpret feeding to the system? Is the eye tracking light source IR wavelength length? For Lauren, good job on Q&A workstation drivers.
Is this someone from my past? I don't know the question. Do you know, Sergi? I don't. Is the IR tracking light source? The IR is the eye tracking is a camera. The mouth camera is an IR camera. maybe I'm missing the question.
Yeah, I feel like that's a situation that we'll need to take back to the engineering team and see if we can get a better answer, because we will mess up if it's answer live.
Went over my head.
Yeah, maybe if you'd like to clarify in the chat, AA, or maybe send an email, right? All right.
Absolutely.
Great. Next question is from Jenny. Maybe a bit off topic, but are there any plans for an untethered headset? Think in terms of more towards AR and remote assistance.
We can't comment on future roadmap stuff, but we're all thinking of, we're still very invested in XR, so feel confident in that from HP.
Perfect answer. Nice. All right. So other questions just keep on coming. All right. So next question from Adrian. Are there plans to separate the cognitive load data into its three components: intrinsic, extraneous, and germane?
Oh, interesting. We'll take that. I mean, not that I'm aware of, but we are always talking about making the cognitive load output. We want to make it better and better. There's a lot of people who ask questions about the privacy. Like, we're not taking it, you guys, when you use this, HP's not gathering your information or anything, but there is the ability to send information back to HP to make our cognitive load algorithm better. And it's completely anonymous. Like, we strip all the, like, who you are from it, but that information coming back to us, the point of that would be so our cognitive load algorithm gets more specific. So that could be something that we would look into. I definitely want to take that question back to our researchers, though.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. Now a question from Karsten. Are there any plans to expand sensors to the controllers, example, measuring sweat?
That's a great question. I don't think on that generation, because we don't have like that controller right now. That's I think a good idea or a good feedback for the hardware team.
Yeah, let's get that feedback. We did look into measuring sweat for the headset at one point, but for cognitive load, but we actually found a better, more reliable way to get cognitive load without that. But that's good feedback. A cool idea for the controllers that we'll take back.
Nice, lots of great ideas from the workshop. All right, now a question from Hussein. Does an app using Omnicept SDK require an internet connection to work? Is it connecting to machine learning online?
No, so I can take this one, Lauren. So as I mentioned before, there's like we ship the train model and it works offline. So if you require offline working, obviously it will work offline. As Lauren has mentioned before, we offer the possibility to share data back with HP, but that's something that you have to actually actively do, right? So it's nothing that there is no magical flip for us to do that, right? So you have to actually go on code and do the calls for you to do that. So you'll have like the power on if you do that or not. And if you require offline solution, we fully support that.
Great. All right, next question from Anurag. Can you use this with multiplayer mode?
And so I will say define a little bit more about multiplayer. So good things is we are a mixed reality device. A mixed reality device can work on multiplayer environment. You were required to go to mixed reality API, right, and get your anchors working and sync your maps and so on. So that's work to do. There are some guys online for LBE environments, but we definitely have some LBEs doing like multiplayer experiences with the Reverb G2. So Omnicept is the same, right? So.
All righty. Next question from Crystal. What are some use cases for the mouth images as they are now?
Should I take that, Lauren, or you go? Okay. So I think like for now, the best things you can do, one is to do live display of that, or you can try get like landmark from that. There's like a lot of work that you can do there that may be parallel with like the future HP or not, right? But kind of like the multiple image camera are meant to be the basis for driving more things on the future, right? I think like a RAW for developer, if you need to like to apply some data treatment to that to get like interesting results on things you can use on your application. But we expose that to give you the ability to do that, right? So if you want to implement your own landmark system, demand tracking for the mouth, go do it, because you are free to use the data to do that.
Awesome. All right, question from Nguyen. Does the HP Reverb G2 Standard Edition work with this development?
So if you talk about the OpenXR development, the answer is yes. So Omnicept G2 and G2 Omnicept are the same basis, right? So we have like the same name, just adding Omnicept at 10, same as website. So they work the same, but you will not able to get like any sensor data because G2 regular has no sensor data. And I can pull the headset to, you see like face camera, we have here the face camera, a tracking camera is there. So if you don't have that, you will have no sensor data, but the OpenXR stuff that we have explained today, it all applies, right? You can just strip out like the cognitive load system and the sample is still valid for developing on G2.
Nice. Question from Emil. How does privacy work with these sensor data being sensitive? Do we need to make the consent before we run these sort of game/training?
So I will, depending on what you are planning to do with the data, right? So if you are planning to store the data, you need to take into account like that you are storing the data and you need the user to let you know. Anyway, next releases, we are adding like some try icons that will warrant the user that like this application is trying to access this sensor, kind of to give them the user the warrant that this is happening, right? So the user will have the control. We have like a notification on the desktop that says, hey, this is gonna get access to the camera. Similar like Chrome does, right? So when you try to get a camera application with a camera, it pops up some windows and say, hey, do you allow this web page to access the camera? You have the same control on Omnicept.
Right, makes sense. Next question. Oh, that answer got lots of celebration. Next question from Jacob. Where do you suggest someone start learning about developing for Omnicept?
Oh, hp.io/Omnicept. If you can't remember that, hp.com/Omnicept or YouTube Omnicept, and something will come up.
Yes.
But it'll all take you back to that portal, and that's where like it says getting started. And then again, always ask us questions.
Nice. Okay, let's see here. Have we answered them all? No. Oh, 2 questions above. Never mind. False alarm. Question by Jose. Is there any restriction from HP of the usage of these sensor data in your app?
I don't know if we have official. We don't. I don't know how to answer that. We don't want you to be using it for like malicious reasons. And when you do sign up for Omnicept, we are getting some information about you. So we don't want you to use it for malicious reasons, and there is an ability to audit who's using Omnicept.
Great.
Sergi, any other thoughts there? Yeah.
You handle it.
All right, question from David. I'm looking at the Omnicept site. Can you describe what the inference engine is?
Yeah. So we're in our Omnicept speak world. We keep, we say these phrases so comfortably, but Omnicept enables sensor data, like raw sensors. That's heart rate, eye camera, eye tracking, mouth camera. Like that's like raw sensor data. You guys can just have that, do whatever you want with that for however long. But HP, the work that we've done with our team, our research team, is inferences like cognitive load. And so that is what we mean by inference engine. Like we're taking that sensor data and like making some inferences and we're making that available. So that is like, that's something that like we license, but that's, you can use it for as long as you want for free. Just check out that website and you'll understand the licensing. We even have like a little interactive like guide for you to understand like the licensing around the inference engine. But that's what we mean by that.
Oh, great. Alrighty, question from Michael. I have clients in enterprise AR. Understanding how an operational context affect cognitive load would make the design of AR experiences in the real world much more effective. Do you have any use cases like this?
We have, I mean, we don't, since it's not AR, I'm not going to be able to say we have use cases of Omnicept with AR, but we definitely have a lot of use cases in the enterprise and commercial area with Omnicept, with VR, for training, for some wellness uses. I'm like drawing a blank here right now. So we have a lot of different, it's a lot of training, even product A/B testing with cognitive load. So we'll make that more, we're working on making a page on the hp.com Omnicept page to really give you a list of all of the different companies we've been working with, because we've been working with them even prior to coming out with Omnicept. We were working with enterprise customers with Omnicept.
One person saying, no pulling any Facebook advertising, please. No, don't worry. And Logan has provided some additional links in the chat as well about privacy and data. So make sure to check that out. Alrighty, so next question is by Jayasilan. Hopefully I see your name right. Do we need to learn Unity, Oculus, and other OEM?
I would say learn Unity, then you can choose whatever platform you want, right? So that's, stick to CircuitStream, learn on Unity, and then... Exactly,
yeah. Take one of our courses, or all of our courses, as Andrew said. No, yeah, we work with Unity, so we're actually a Unity partner as well, as I mentioned, so we're a good place to start for that.
Also, if you have to choose an API rendering, OpenXR is a good chance. They pay me nothing but to say that, but with OpenXR, you have like the ability to choose the device that you're targeting, so it's up to you.
Nice. Next question by Brandon. Do you think these features could be passed down to cheaper consumer headsets in the next few generations of HMDs, expanding the use and adoption of these features?
I hope we can do that. I think like, I will lie if I say like, that's not the intention for anyone, right? To get like devices more accessible to everyone and get like the technology to as much people as we can. I think like that's the first approach for us to get like the sensors from the headset, and from that we can move.
Yeah, that'd be great. All right, next question by Jose. Is the Omnicept SDK limited to only for HP Reverb G2OE, or is there any planning of more HP headset in the future and third-party headsets implementing this technology?
So today it's limited to the Omnicept edition. I can't make comments about future plans. Sorry. Do you have a sweeter way of saying anything else to that?
No comment, no comment. So there you go. We like keeping some mystery, why give it all away. All right, let's see here. Chat is continuing, awesome. Let's see the questions. Not answered. It looks like we got through all of them. Amazing. Just right under the hour-and-a-half mark. Great. All right, everyone. So without further ado, thank you everybody for coming. Thank you to Lauren and Sergi for an awesome workshop. Thank you for your questions. This was really exciting. A round of applause again to them. Lots of emojis. So you will be getting the recording, and once we're done as well, we'll do the draw, and one of you will be getting the headset. Exciting. Amazing. Thanks, everyone. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.